Hello!
And welcome back to Party Trick Astrology. I'm Nina.
I'm Shaina.
And we do not purposefully match.
No! It just happens.
It's not on purpose.
So, today is Venus in Sagittarius. I'm feeling like a,
Say it's all good, 'cause it's all good.
Oh yeah!
Say it's all good, 'cause it's all good.
I don't know if that constitutes for this placement, because most of the time,
It's not all good.
It's not all good.
So let's go over the simple facts of Sagittarius. It is a fire sign, it is a mutable sign, it is a centaur archer.
Rule 6. Whoa, wait. Why am I
Rule
spacing?
5.
Thank you. I still don't know the parts of the
Yeah,
leg.
you're bad at it. And it's ruled by Jupiter.
Yes, so the planet of expansion. And Venus is love, it's relationships, it's friendships, it's creativity, how you express yourself,
What you value.
how you attract a partner, how you go after someone, what you're attracted to.
Like we said in the last video, it is the peacock feathers
Yes.
of your love life.
Yeah, it's what you show off. I have a Venus in Sagittarius.
This video is gonna be real personal.
It's so mutable. Like, I just think it's the most mutable of the mutable Venuses, that it's just so different depending on the person. Like, there are some definite things that connect all of it.
It's kind of like in terms of love, you kind of just go wherever the wind takes you.
Yeah.
So as far as what you're attracted to, you're not very specific. You're unattracted to people who will not let you go where the wind takes you.
Oh yeah, that's like the one steady thing. It's
Yeah.
like, don't try to cage in a Venus in Sagittarius. But what I will say before we get into it, the thing that I think of though, when I think of Venus in Sagittarius, is just love is fun. Like, that's kind of what it translates to. I even thought that as a young child. I was like, love is something that's just fun, and there's not much weight to it. And I'd never been a person that's like, what is love? And like, it's just something fun that you experience with another person. And like, that's the goal of any relationship, is you just want to enjoy it and be in the moment.
I would say a word for Venus in Sagittarius is experiential. You're going to be attracted to people who provide new experiences for you, that provide something. And it's not like Venus in Capricorn. It's not like provide monetary value and stability. Provide just fun experiences, knowledge.
Yeah. I find that I'm really attracted to people with just their own idea of life, like idea towards life. Like, even if I don't agree with how they live their life or their opinions and stuff, just the fact that they live their own life and they have the knowledge behind as to why they think, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very attracted to those kind of people. Like, even artists, like, I'll find myself like musical artists, like, I'll be like, I can't relate to this person at all, but I love how they're just living their own life. I'm learning about their viewpoints and their well-educated viewpoints. Even if they're different than mine, it's really a lot about sharing knowledge, and you really want to grow in a relationship, and you definitely see relationships as like potential fun experiences, and kind of, you can really dive headfirst into things really fast. It's a fire sign, it's very spontaneous, it's very like, I like you, let's go.
Right. Because of that, you can get pretty sexual pretty fast. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Venus in Sagittarius won't hesitate to do it on the first date. Won't hesitate for anything, really.
Because the thought process is, it's like, okay, if I like you now, if I want to have sex with you now, why are we waiting? There's really no reason, because Venus in Sagittarius does not plan for the long term. I've never had the thought process in my mind, like even as a really young child, of like, oh, I want to only sleep with one person and only be with one person and want to marry the first person. Like, that sounds terrible to me. Like, I've always like, I want to experience a bunch of different relationships, experience a bunch of different people.
I know someone who's Venus in Sagittarius who is a lot like me, where he was in a very serious relationship where he planned on marrying that person and it didn't go well, and now he goes through people like crazy.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, because there's no real inhibitions, you can just like go through people like crazy, seeking out experiences, and it's not for the long haul, so one night stands can accumulate. Also, you can get bored, so sometimes an experience
so quickly,
right?
So like too quickly, to the point of like, what the fuck, like, I'm already.
You might not be bored from the onset, so you might go ahead and experience something with that person, and as soon as it's done, you're bored of that person, you move on. And the thing with like Earth Venuses, they might think that Sagittarius Venus doesn't like care about them, or like they might think that they just misread signs and that at the end of the day the Venus and Sagittarius didn't care. But it's just a very different style of loving, where a Venus and Sagittarius doesn't not care. They just don't look at relationships as something that like need to be stuck or even built upon, or that need to last.
I definitely have a very different outlook on like partner relationships than I do friendship relationships. Like I am somebody who like, I build my friendships to last, and I want them to, but like partnership relationships, I'm much, for whatever reason, I'm much more like, I don't want it to last. Like, let's just do it. Let's see this. Like, okay, sure, why not? With Venus and Sagittarius, it's a very unconventional way because we don't believe in the steps of a relationship. Like, we don't believe in first you do this, and then you do this, and then you do
First
that.
comes love, then comes marriage.
No, it's very much just like, what I feel is what we're gonna do. That's why I talked about Venus and Capricorn angers me, because it's so like, first we do this, this, and this, and this. And I'm like, listen, we both like each other. Let's skip all that shit and just do what we want. Like, let's just experience the time that we have. And in a weird way, I think that Venus and Sagittarius gets along really well with their opposite Venus sign, which is Venus and Gemini. More than most opposites. Because they both have that mentality of like, let's just enjoy it, let's just throw ourselves into it.
Something that we forgot to mention, that we usually mention in our Venus videos, is that if you have a Venus in Sagittarius, you are either a Sagittarius, a Capricorn, a Aquarius,
a Scorpio, and a Libra.
So depending on your sun sign, that can really change either the way that you view friendships or partnerships. Like Shaina was saying, that with her friendships, she's very
in it forever,
in it for the long haul, and that's because she has a lot of Capricorn energy. So,
yeah, 7th house Capricorn energy, in it for the long haul, right? It's so mutable because it's so unpredictable, and like I can't even predict how I'm gonna feel about someone in a partnership. And it's not like Gemini. I don't feel myself going flip flop. Like, it's not like this automatic thing. It's this like, I'm never position of I know how I feel about somebody that I'm involved with. It's always just kind of like, whoop, it goes up and then it goes down and then it's here and it's there. It's like, they can go from just being done with the relationship, over it, just tossing it away, as Sagittarius Venuses tend to do. It's in the trash, forget about it, walk away, run away probably because it's Sagittarius, to, they talk to them and then an hour later, oh, everything's back to normal. We're back to even stronger than better. Oh, here we are again. And now I'm committed. Ish. Committed as a Venus and Sagittarius can get, which they can commit, but it's in a very different way.
But commitment to Venus and Sagittarius just
terrifying.
No, what it means is maybe it's monogamous, maybe it's not monogamous, maybe it's like not polyamorous, but it's an open relationship because you still want to be experiencing. Maybe long-term relationships are just a no in general. Maybe it's like monogamous and long-term marriage, piece of paper and all of that, but some aspect of adventure that
constant
keeps the
freedom, traveling together, or
that keeps the relationship alive.
Like, I've never been in a committed relationship. I've wanted to, like, maybe once in my life, but that was pretty much it. It can just be very claustrophobic. The second that I feel in a relationship, or like I feel like I'm a couple with somebody, like it feels very like, and your instinct as a Venus and Sagittarius, most of us, is to just run or be free, or like we all, I think, need space in a different way from a relationship. Like every Venus and Sagittarius needs a different kind of space. For me, I just might need my alone time, and I might just need, like, oh, let's take a texting break. But to another Venus and Sagittarius, it might be like, oh, I need to see other people, or it might be, oh, I need to go travel somewhere else alone, or oh, I need to go out to a big party instead of just spending the night in with you. And it can be different, and it can be different, and even in the person. The second you try to cage up a Venus and Sagittarius, they're going to leave you or run away or do something that they'll regret because they feel locked up, because they feel caged. Venus and Sagittarius, it's ruled by Jupiter, so it really does expand your Venus
Yeah.
sign. So you have so much love to give, and you have just so much like energy and all this stuff to give into a relationship, and you really want to have all these experiences and have so much fun. So you have so much love. Venus and Sagittarius can seem like, oh, I don't want a relationship, or oh, I don't want this or that, but like they do, but it's just in a different,
in a free kind
way,
of way.
in a free kind of way. Yeah.
What I would recommend to a Venus in Sagittarius, just because like relationship, not hookup culture, but relationship culture is so like against what you're working with, having your Venus in Sagittarius, is to just know this is who you are and accept it, because the sign of Sagittarius inherently lends itself to bad impulsive decisions if there is not an amount of freedom. Like gambling is related to the sign of Sagittarius.
Or it can be like drugs, alcohol, fun, relationships, partners, sex, anything.
Any kind of like excessiveness is related to the sign of Sagittarius. So as a Venus in Sagittarius, if you're trying to conform too much to the rigidity of a relationship, you may find that all of a sudden you're unexpectedly going out and having sex with a bunch of other people, even though you love the person, and you're like, I want to be, you know, there for you.
I still love them.
And have this relationship with you and everything. If you feel some kind of like cagedness or lack of freedom, you just might find yourself like binging into a bunch of excessiveness, into alcoholism, into gambling,
just whatever it is,
into like cheating. So yeah, just be aware and be accepting of the fact that you need to find some kind of compromise to allow yourself to have freedom.
And like I said, Venus in Sagittarius is very quick to feel. Like if I like someone, I'm like, I want to be with them right now. Like I don't want to do any of these formalities. Like fuck all that shit. Like let's just be together now because I like you and it seems like you like me. I don't want to get too personal, but like I know another Venus in Sagittarius very well, and it's like at basically my same degree. And so if two Venus and Sagittarius meet, it's gonna be just like they're both like, yep, let's go, and then they just dive in like head first really fast, and it's just like, let's just have all the fun experiences we can together, like no strings probably. Like I don't want this to be a relationship. I want the other person to have their freedom. I want me to have my freedom, and like what freedom means to us is two different things. Venus in Sagittarius is usually somebody who's going to go after who they want. And now there's a lot of things, because like my Venus is square Saturn, so that really kind of diminishes that. Even with that Saturn, I can still feel that in me. Like if I like someone, like I still am like, oh, I just want to like do. If your Venus in Sagittarius isn't like kind of held back like mine is, you're going to be the person that goes after who you want. You're not going to wait. You're going to be like, okay, you're going to be the flirt. You're going to get their number. You're going to just go after them, and just because you don't have anything to lose in your mind. I'm pretty much always the person that admits that I like the other one. Almost every time. First is what I should say.
This is very different from a Venus in Aquarius, like me. I'm in an acting class where we're encouraged to be very experiential and to kind of work with the other person and receive whatever energy that you're getting from the other person. So one of the teachers loves to just be like, how do you feel sexually about each other? And so my response will be like, how do I feel about this person? You want me to say how I feel?
Yeah.
And then a Venus in Sagittarius will be like, oh yeah, would fuck.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which is very admirable from my perspective. But at the same time, like Shaina was saying, like if you feel something, you want it now. You don't want to wait.
No patience. I'm the most impatient fucker ever.
So in the same vein with that, if the person takes too long to respond, you know, the feeling can pass just like that also.
What it could be is, for me, it's like the second that they show any little bit of disinterest, and I'm like, okay, guess I gotta cut it off. Like I'm always ready to be like, I guess I gotta run away. And then if they show interest again back at me, I'm like, okay, it's back. Like it's so like, oh sure, yeah, I see her. Oh no. And then because it's like I'm not gonna like I'm like, it's whatever. But I'm very different when it comes to friends. With friends, I'm like, I will work at this till the day that I die if they mean something to me.
I think with Venus, the most different like elements are fire and earth.
Yeah.
Fire is just so like.
Also, but I could
in the
never touch a
moment.
Venus in Scorpio. Because they're too possessive, they're too jealous, they're manipulative, they're not like, Venus in Sagittarius is blunt as fuck. Like, Venus in Sagittarius says it like it is. I always find friendships through like, they have to have a good sense of humor. People always say like, I like a sense of humor in a person. Like, Venus in Sagittarius is actually the person requiring a good sense of humor or a same sense of humor. I've always thought like, oh, it sounds cliche to be like, oh, one of the most attractive things to me is their sense of humor, but like it really is. I once had somebody tell me that I wasn't funny, and like I've never been more offended. And people have said stupid ass shit to me. People can tell me I look ugly any day of the week. But when somebody that I like was interested in told me that I wasn't funny, like that stung like a bitch. A Venus in Sagittarius' picture of like a date is just something spontaneous, something fun. Sagittarius Venuses just find possessiveness very unattractive. The way that my friendships are is like, oh, even if we don't talk to each other for a while, if we were best friends at one point, that stays the same. And we pick things up where we leave off, that kind of thing. And like, if we're not living in the same state, we don't need constant communication, but like, I always know that we're still super close.
Yeah, and it would probably rub you the wrong way if one of your friends was like, I feel like you don't talk to me enough.
It did one time, but I'm not somebody who I can give you this constant, nonstop communication. But that doesn't mean that, you know, I don't love you the same or whatever it is. And you really need somebody to understand that, because a lot of people, honestly, are very much like ego invested into things.
Or just needy.
Needy, yeah, in that sense of like, if you don't show constant care, then that must mean that you're not thinking of me. But it's like, I think of you, I just don't always say it. Just below Venus and Gemini on the expected amount of cheating is Venus and Sagittarius. Yeah. And now I would never cheat just because
You're never in a committed relationship.
I'm never in a committed relationship. There's two kinds of Venus and Sagittarius, and I'm this kind. If I feel the need to cheat, I'm not gonna stay in the relationship and cheat. I'm gonna be so already out of it, it'll just like, no. Like it just wouldn't even been an option, because I'll be gone.
You never be with someone who wouldn't allow you to leave the relationship, because I think that's a big reason why cheating happens.
Yeah. If you're the Venus and Sagittarius kind that will stay in that confined relationship, then you'll cheat not because you love that person any less, but just for that need for freedom, or just for the need to experience new things, or whatever the reason is. It's just like, it's not as big of a deal to you, honestly. Like, I've never been somebody who's been that off-put by cheating. I've been off-put by it because of the honesty factor. I'm like, they're lying, and that's what bothers me. Like, honesty is so important to me that it's like, somebody can have sex with somebody else, and this is not most people, not most Venus and Sagittarius are like this, but for me, I'm like, somebody can go and have sex with somebody else, like, as long as they tell me. But if they don't tell me, like, that's when I have the issue, because that's lying, that's keeping something from me. And Venus and Sagittarius is all about the honest truth seeking. So honesty is super important in a relationship, and having fun and the humor is super important. Now, when it comes to who you're attracted to, it's not like Venus and Aquarius, where it's just like unconventional, but it's unconventional for them, that person. Does that make sense?
Who brings something new.
So probably somebody of a different culture, of a different background. Most of my friends are like first generation Americans. You're just attracted to somebody who looks different than you, has a big personality. They just have to be from a different background. You can even be financially.
I think the biggest reason why a Venus in Sagittarius will not pursue an experience or a person, or like not have a second date, is if they find that the other person just doesn't add any value,
any new things,
and it's not that the person is like bad or wrong or whatever. It's just like their style of loving is to be with someone who adds something.
Okay, when I first met Nina, I literally, like, the first second I even saw her, I was like, she's gonna be my best friend. How do I do this? Let's do this immediately. Like, why are we wasting this little time with this little, like, oh, we're kind of close? Like, no, we're gonna be best friends. Let's make this happen. And her Venus in Aquarius was like, gotta seem detached, can't, 8th house. And I'm like, no, bitch, you're gonna be my best friend.
Venus in Sagittarius is really attracted to people who are just full of vitality, full of life, humor, adventure. Someone who, honestly, typically in like traditional relationship standards would not be relationship material or marriage material, because they're too free and wild and different and have different views on things and different views on relationships. You want someone who will expand your views on relationships. If you were brought up thinking that monogamy was the one way, you're going to be very attracted to someone who's like, hey, have you heard something called an open relationship?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, Venus and Sagittarius are definitely, not all of them, but like kind of like Venus and Aquarius, is they can be more prone to wanting an open relationship, to being more okay with like polyamory or that kind of stuff, or whatever it is.
Honestly, I think Venus and Sagittarius to the extreme might be a sister wife.
Yeah.
Because there's that religious connotation.
Yeah.
But also because Sagittarius is like very philosophical, so it's like you could be lured into
somebody's new big idea.
Yeah, new big culty religious idea.
No, totally.
And fall in love with them, and then there's that aspect of like, oh yeah, we're all sister wives. That's cool.
Anybody that I've ever been involved with, it really starts in a friendship first. And most of the people that I've been involved with were like, oh, I thought this was just a platonic thing. For me, I need a friendship connection first before I find someone attractive. And if I don't find their personality attractive, I don't find them attractive. And again, that's not true with all of them.
Right. I think in that case, some other Venus and Sagittarius might be like, oh yeah, would fuck.
But that's it,
yeah.
Yeah. So how you show your peacock feathers is by making the other person laugh. Like, this is even in, like, when I'm meeting new people, when I'm in a group of people, friends or whatever, like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna impress them with my sense of humor. I'm gonna show them how funny I am. And I'm gonna show them how open I am to doing things.
Showing your humor is a way of showing your vitality, your lightheartedness, your fun side. It's all about showing your fun side. You might also show off your knowledge, not in, like, an arrogant way, but just, like, something that you might bring up is like, oh yeah, when I went to Brazil and I had this different cultural experience, or like, oh yeah, when I studied Greek mythology, blah, 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 blah. When you're courting someone, you know, when you're courting someone, you are really using talking points that will bond the two of you together. And that's essentially what Venus is. It's like, these are my peacock feathers. What do yours look like? Are they compatible? Do they fit into each other?
Another perfect example of, like, I love reading people's birth charts at parties. When I first get to know somebody, I love bringing that up because, first of all, you get to know someone on a deeper level. Sagittarius, I don't want to know you at this, you know, surface level. And also, like, let me show you this knowledge that I can give you. Let me show you this stuff. Like, I want to teach you all about yourself and your chart. Sagittarius Venuses can bounce back from relationships a lot faster than most, to the point that to the outside world, it might seem as though they were, like, never connected to begin with, or that they are kind of like even like emotionless or detached, or like not in the Aquarius way, but in the sense of like they seem that way just because it's like they can break up with someone and then be on to somebody the next day. But that doesn't mean that the feelings don't remain.
Right. That's especially given the nature of relationships that Venus and Sagittarius tend to pursue. Even if you're not over someone emotionally, sexually you will be, or practically you will be, you know, for all practical reasons. You can start seeing other people very soon.
Like, to the extreme, like, two Venus and Sagittarius can definitely be the kind of like elope to Vegas, moving together like out of nowhere, or just do something like very quick, very spontaneous, but it's just because like, why the fuck not? Like, what is there to lose?
Like what we said,
But-
go on a spontaneous road trip, get an impulsive tattoo.
Yeah, so Venus and Sagittarius can be a lot for most Venus signs, because to them it's like they want to commit so fast.
But it's not even
But it's not a commitment. That's the thing, and that's where it can get muddled.
Yeah.
It's like we're so fast to want to like pursue it and be with you, but yet when it comes to like, okay, so this is the thing, right? And like tying us down, it's like, whoa, hey there.
What gave you that idea?
Yeah, what? Just the fact that I said I love you after the first week gave you that idea? No, it's all in good fun. So it can go sour with a lot of Venus signs, because at first they can seem so much like they want you and like so into you, and then
Passionate.
yeah, and passionate, and then like the next day they're just like, oh, they're off, and you're like, you're interested in someone else, or like, oh, you're over it, or oh, you don't
Yeah,
want to
shit
commit.
happens.
And it's like, I think you need to be so careful with who you are with, like a partnership wise with Venus Sagittarius. I think friendship wise, it's very compatible with most. Like, honestly, because we're just like, we love anybody that's different, anybody that's this, that. So if it's not compatible, it's like, well, it's a different way of looking at things. But once things come into a relationship-wise, that's where the compatibility is like, ooh.
Yep.
Venus and Leo trines it. And so it should go really well. But yeah, Venus and Leo will
Is needy,
has their ego invested in a relationship, it can be jealous. So they want you and they want to make sure that that they're there only, if that makes sense.
and that you're feeding their ego.
Yeah. And they
Venus
want, and they're fixed.
Just a time for
Yeah, no, Venus not just isn't a time to
Venus
feed your
in
ego.
Sagittarius and Venus in Aries, I think.
I think that could totally work. Venus in Sagittarius is a lot of energy. I was a super energetic child. I really wanted to wrestle and roughhouse. I've always been very physical. I have lots of energy. You want to do physical things with your friends, and I hate just standing around at a party and talking. I want to dance, I want to run, I want to have fun, I want to go places. Venus in Sagittarius wants to go out and stuff, but they don't want to be bored when they're out.
Yep.
That is my hell, is being out, but then being sitting
and
there.
Talking
yes.
for hours.
No. It's got to be a constant change of scenery, constant new people introduced to you. Change, just.
You can go excessive, constant drinking.
Yeah. It's just there's just this crazy inner restlessness in a Venus in Sagittarius. That's why it takes a very specific person to be compatible. I really like this energy in me. I think that it gives me a lot of positivity that my Capricorn self would not have without it. I think it gives me optimism and it gives me an openness to ideas that a Capricorn wouldn't normally have as much to. I'm still skeptical as fuck. Venus Sagittarius, definitely when I was watching the videos, they get not the best rap, and I get it. I get it, I do. But I love this placement in myself. I just know that it's just not compatible with most.
Yeah.
And once you figure out your Venus and Sagittarius and what you need in a relationship, it's okay, and once you find somebody that it works with, it's this makes sense. Okay, cool.
Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think, what kind of Venus and Sagittarius you might be.
Yeah, what kind of freedom do you need?
Put in the little bow and arrow emoji too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.